Ever space out mid-conversation? Like, you're nodding along, but then you realize you have no idea what the other person just said.
Happens to the best of us. Our brains are easily distracted.
Right. So, how do we break free from that cycle of fake listening and actually truly hear what someone's saying? Well, get this. We found these 5 simple but crazy effective tips for becoming a better listener.
And we're diving deep into those today. These aren't just random tips. They're rooted in communication science and, get this, even a little bit of psychology.
Psychology and better conversations. I am so in. Let's get to it. Tip number 1 is all about active listening. And no, it's not just about putting your phone down, though that is a good place to start.
It's bigger than that. It's a mental shift. Imagine, instead of just waiting for your turn to talk, you're totally present. You're absorbing not just their words, but their tone, their body language. You're picking up on what's left unsaid.
Okay, I'm already feeling more zen just thinking about this. But how do we actually do that? Because sometimes someone's telling me about their day and my brain's already 3 steps ahead thinking about what to make for dinner.
Been there. It takes practice, but one trick is to engage with curiosity. Ask yourself, what's the underlying message here? Or try to identify the emotion behind their words.
So instead of just nodding along, I might say something like, wow, it sounds like that was really stressful, or that's amazing, you must have felt so proud.
Exactly. And that kind of validation, that's what makes people feel truly heard. And when people feel heard, that's when real connection happens.
Which makes total sense because who wants to feel like they're talking to a brick wall?
Right, the worst. And that actually brings us to tip number 2, which can feel a little awkward at first, but it's huge for building that connection. Eye contact.
See, now this is where I sometimes struggle. How much eye contact is enough? Like, am I staring them down? Is it weird if I look away for a second?
I know, it's a delicate balance, and there are definitely cultural differences to keep in mind. But, as a general rule of thumb, try to hold their gaze for a few seconds longer than feels comfortable at first.
Really? Longer than feels comfortable. I feel like I'm going to start laughing or something.
You'd be surprised. Most people actually find it quite engaging. As long as it's genuine, think about it, if someone's avoiding your eyes, it can feel like they're not really interested or present.
True, true. Like if I'm telling my partner about my day and they're just scrolling through their phone, that's definitely not making me feel heard.
Exactly. Eye contact shows that you're present, you're engaged, and you care about what the other person has to say. And you know what else shows you're really tuned in?
Hit me with tip number 3.
Clarifying questions. These are absolute game changers. Because sometimes, even with the best intentions, we miss things.
Oh, tell me about it. My partner will be explaining something and I'll be totally lost. But I'm too embarrassed to admit I wasn't paying attention.
We've all been there. That's why asking clarifying questions is so important. It shows that you're actively trying to understand, and it gives the speaker a chance to clarify any misunderstandings.
Okay, so instead of just saying, wait, what? Every 5 seconds, what are some good clarifying questions to ask?
Instead of just, did you get that? Try something like, can you tell me more about? Or, "And what was the most challenging part of that experience?" Even a simple, how did that make you feel, can go a long way.
Ooh, I like those. They show that you're not just trying to keep up. You actually want to understand their perspective.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about the words you use, it's about your tone of voice and body language. You want to come across as genuinely curious, not like you're interrogating them.
Right, like I'm genuinely interested in what they have to say, not just trying to catch them out or something.
Exactly. Now, before we get to the really good stuff tips 4 and 5, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the ultimate conversation killer,
Oh, I know exactly what we're going to say. Distractions.
the bane of modern existence. Our phones are constantly buzzing, emails are popping up, and our brains are practically wired to multitask these days.
It's like we've forgotten how to just be in the moment, you know?
Absolutely. But recognizing it is the first step. Once we're aware of how those distractions affect our ability to listen, we can start to combat them.
So, what's the secret? How do we actually win this battle against distraction? Because, let's be real, I can't exactly throw my phone in a lake every time I have a conversation.
Well, it's not quite that drastic. Start with small things. Silence your notifications, put your phone away face down, I might add, and physically turn your body to face the person you're talking to. Those small physical actions can really help to quiet the noise and signal to your brain and the other person that this conversation matters.
It's like you're creating a little bubble of connection, a safe space for meaningful conversation. Which, now that I think about it, ties in perfectly with our final tip for becoming a better listener.
The pièce de résistance. Summarizing and reflecting. This is what takes your listening from good to truly exceptional.
Okay, break it down for me. What does summarizing and reflecting actually look like in practice?
It's all about showing the speaker that you've not only heard their words, but you've also understood the message behind them. And even better, that you've connected with the emotions tied to those words. So instead of just passively listening, you actively demonstrate your understanding. You might say something like, if I'm hearing you correctly, or it sounds like you're feeling, and then reflect back what you've heard.
Not just parroting their words, but really capturing the essence of what they're trying to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It shows that you're not just waiting for your turn to talk, you're truly invested in understanding their experience.
We've covered so much ground today, from the power of eye contact to the importance of asking clarifying questions, and of course, the secret weapon summarizing and reflecting. It's amazing how these simple but powerful techniques can transform the way we listen and, in turn, deepen our connections with others.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with this thought-provoking question. If true listening is a form of generosity, what possibilities open up when we all strive to be more generous listeners?
It's something to think about as you navigate your next conversation. Until next time, happy listening.